as promised, let's deep dive into the members of the Ring of Brass from Critical Role's EXU Calamity series. More and more of them have been showing up in the animated universe in reference or in person/hologram. It's two. Two of them have. Despite Calamity taking place thousands of years before the events of Vox Machina and the Mighty Nine, they're showing up anyway. So let's prepare for that. Let's prepare ourselves for more of them being referenced and just take a fun look at what I consider to be some of the best D&D characters ever created. And as a warning, there will be Calamity spoilers abound. Now, I'm going to bookend these with my two favorites. So I'll start with Cerrit. Cerrit is played by Critical Role CEO Travis Willingham. He is an Aesfira, which is a humanoid bird race from Exandria, and he is an Inquisitor rogue, notably the only martial type in the Ring of Brass, as their story takes place during the Age of Arcanum, a time in Exandria when magic flourished.
The character creation part kind of informed all of it because, you know, they were like, come with some ideas, come with some partial builds. I didn't do any of that shit. I just showed up my lazy ass to the table, and then everybody was spitting fire and had great ideas, and all of a sudden the shape of what this could look like started to take shape, but I was the last one to go. I just happened to be on the end of the table as we were kind of going counterclockwise, and everybody else had killer magic. You all were super powerful with magic. I was like, well, you got to have the one guy that's like sharp, pointy things only, right? And then I asked Brennan, I was like, what's a really good like investigator? Like, what would be really good at finding out details and trying to like keep a check on all this magic run amok? And he was like, Inquisitor Rogue.
Now, Cerrit was much different from his team in a lot more ways than just the choice to play a non-magic class. Cerrit was inherently a good man. Not to say the rest of the group didn't have their good sides. In the end, they were all heroes in their own ways. But I think Brennan said it best when discussing why it was important to have that one moral character in the story.
If you had also been corrupt, people watching at home would get to go like, oh, that's what happens when everyone's bad. Not like me, who's good. And you were good and also didn't stop Calamity.
Cerrit was a man that, even in a position of power, he wasn't corrupt, which you can't say the same thing about every other character in the Ring of Brass. His biggest flaw was in his prioritizing, and by that, I mean he prioritized his work over some more important things.
It was one of those things where he was obsessed with his work. He had a high station in the city, but while he had his eyes on everything else, literally everything outside of their house, it wasn't on her and it wasn't on the children. And she was like, this is my idea of her. She was like, I need more purpose. I'm gonna go find that elsewhere. And until there's something for me here, I won't be here. And I'm sure he was like, okay, and just went back to work.
Wow.
Right? Just totally blind and all that stuff. And so, you know, I feel like I think it's always interesting to try and put a little part of yourself into characters. And so as like a new dad, one of the things I'm always fearful of is just working so much that you'll miss parts of your life. And I definitely pay attention to my wife, but you know, you worry about...
Way to get that in there on tape.
Love you, babe. I see you.
I love my wife.
Heart emoji. Oh, shit.
And while not being there for your family is likely not a thing you would praise or forgive, his intentions certainly were not evil or selfish. And despite his absence, and the fact that Travis himself has said that when we're watching Calamity, we're seeing him on a good dad day, in the interactions we do see between Cerrit and his kids, he does seem to be a good father.
And I saw her take a swig from it, and then she made a face like it was really bad. And then she took another swig from it, and then made a face like it was even worse. I don't know what it's about, but I know she's up to no good.
This is very good, Talentu. Very good. You are in no way to engage with Egghead. She's dealing in dark magic.
I knew it.
I'll be home when I can. I love you very much.
Is that... I love you too, Dad. Sorry, I thought we were still doing...
No, Talentu. Keep objective professionalism. No telling who could be watching.
So what was the job that took Cerrit away from those adorable children? Well, Cerrit was a detective. More specifically, he's the senior site warden of the Eyes of Avalier, which seems to be kind of like the police on the floating city of Avalier. He is hot on the trail of Vespin Chloris, which served as a great way for Brennan to connect the story to the previously known lore in Exandria fandom. We knew by this point already from other Critical Role content that Vespin was the person that served as the champion of Asmodeus and was largely responsible for freeing the Betrayer gods and causing the Calamity. A bad dude. Now, Cerrit had already made a name for himself in the city of Avalier as someone who picked up on things that the average person might miss. He was a very good detective. He's moral, he's thorough, he's private, and as I previously mentioned, he often has trouble prioritizing anything other than his work as a detective. The most interesting thing about him is a choice that Travis made. Now, I've already mentioned it. It's the choice to give Cerrit a family. And not just a family, young children. In a story taking place during an apocalyptic event, giving yourself the added pressure and motivation of trying to make sure your children survive, that is a very heavy burden for a person to take over a game of Dungeons and Dragons.
Part of that was also like, you know, you can be the baddest, most focused warrior, mage, whatever, and when shit hits the fan, there has to be a priority. And if one is shutting down the threat, then number two inherently is your family.
Yeah.
So you've put something above your family. And as a new dad, I don't know how to do that. Yeah. Like they don't, you might hear it, but when people say like becoming a parent is literally someone taking your heart out of your chest, taking it out of your body, giving it legs, and it starts walking around for the rest of your life. And all you can do is stare at it and the things that are around it and try and protect it and hope that nothing bad happens to it. And that's the craziest notion. So when I knew that a Calamity was coming, I thought it would be interesting as a player, depending on where it went down and what was going to be happening, if he was torn between the thing that he's been trained to do his entire life and knowing that maybe there is something more important than that in this moment, even though he holds this high position. So that pull was what I wanted. I just didn't know I didn't know I wanted it like that.
Cerrit has a wife named Rain, and he has two kids, his daughter Maya, who seem to be teenaged, whatever that is in bird years, and his son Kier, who is younger and is the best. You heard from him just a little while ago in a clip, and he's just absolutely the most adorable, even while being played by a grown man in his 30s named Brennan Lee Mulligan. I don't want to minimize the trauma a busy working parent can inadvertently cause to a child. But when he is with his kids or talking to Kier, he seems like a good dad, which I think entirely comes from the fact that Travis is a great dad. So that's why it was a good day, because that was the day Travis happened to be playing him. So that just bled through. In any case, his family is so important to the story of Calamity. Having children and a wife to come home to, it gives the audience something to hope for. In a hopeless time, when the city is literally falling from the sky, the Betrayer gods are free and will cause 2/3 of life on Exandria to be extinguished, much of that death happening in the exact moment that Calamity starts and the final moments of this limited series. With all that going on, if any of the members of the Ring of Brass gets to survive, it feels really, really good that it gets to be Cerrit.
Ash, heat, rising faster than you can imagine from the earth. And on a 31, at the very top of that cloud, the last member of the brass ring gets to keep his promise to his family. You fly for weeks over oceans choked by ash and soot. You don't get to give your kids the world that they deserve, but you get to give them the world that they can fight for with you.